G'day guys, I'm Biggest Kev and welcome to my channel. Firstly, I'd just like to say I hope you all had a Merry Christmas and you enjoyed yourselves with family and friends. Sometimes it's the one time in the year that we all get together. Yeah, so I just hope that you all enjoyed yourselves, and now that Christmas is over, we've got New Year to look forward to now. And yeah, and that's it, and it goes around and around. Now, my video today is about CPUs. These things here, CPU cards from computers, and I've got a few of them here, and I'll just show you what I've got, and I'll show you the process. I have done this before and I've got gold, recovered gold from these pens. So I'll just show you how I do it. And all I'm doing is I've watched videos on YouTube about recovering gold from computer parts. So all I'm doing is just copying what other people have done, basically, to recover the gold. Yeah. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll just set you up. I'll just show you all the CPUs I've got here. I've got quite a few. There we are. Now, here they all are, and there is different types. Some are sort of flat pins, and I'll see if I can. And some have got very fine. This one here, I'll see if I can show you a bit closer. You can see the little fine needles, the little fine pins. Yeah, and they're all covered in or coated in gold. Yeah, so I've got all these. Firstly, what I've got to do, on the back is a heat sink. It's a copper heat, what they call a heat sink, and they're copper. So what I've got to do, I've got to put these into a heat source. This one here, I've already removed the copper heat sink, and so I've got to put these on a heat source, which will, that one there, I've taken the heat sink off, and it's sort of a glue. They're glued on. So by putting them on a heat sink, a heat source, it softens up the glue, and the copper heat sink, they just come off easily. So that's what I've got to do first up, remove all the copper heat sinks. And then next I'll be aqua regia. I'll make up an aqua regia, and I'll put these all in the aqua regia, and that will dissolve the gold so I can recover it. Okay guys, I'll be back. Okay, so I've got my frying pan all nice and hot. So this one here I don't need to do, he's good. That one's good. Right, now this one here, you can see it's got the silver heat sink on the back, so I'll put them down. Heat sink first on the pan, and as I said, what I'll do, the heat will soften up the glue, and then I can peel off the copper heat sink. Basically that's all I'll do, and I'll just put them all in the pan, heat them up, and I'll get back to you when I'm peeling off the heat sinks. Hey, check this out guys, want to see something really cool? Look, the gold pins started falling off the CPUs. Yeah, that one in there, the pins all started falling off, so the solder heated up and melted, and all the pins started falling off. Isn't that cool? I wonder if I can do that with all of them. I can just end up with a big heap of gold pins. That'll be the way to go. Okay, the frying pan idea didn't really work, so I've had to use a hammer and chisel. And yeah, sort of bodge them off this way. They were just stuck on too hard for the heat to release them. This one's a bit of a bodgy. Anyway, like that, guys. There's your heat sink. So these heat sinks, I'll just keep them and I'll melt them down, maybe make some copper bars out of them or whatever. But that's the part that we're after. That's the part we're after there. That's got the gold on it. Okay, there's all the heat sinks, and I'll just show you. They look silver. They're just plated with a zinc, but I hope you can see that orange. I'll put it on the grinder and I'll ground off the zinc so you can see the copper. These plates are solid copper with a zinc coating. And then I've got, they're all the gold plated pins. That's all in the beaker. I'm going to mix up an aqua regia and dissolve all the gold. And that's all the gold pins. The gold pins they're all going in the beaker with the rest of the CPUs with all the gold on them, and I'm going to dissolve all the gold off and recover it. Okay, first thing, hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid, just enough to cover them. That's 400 mils. 400 mils of hydrochloric acid. Then I've got 50 mils of ammonium nitrate. Okay, that is your aqua regia. I'll just give it a stir up, see it all happening. This is a very strong acid that will dissolve the gold and other metals. Next, I'll turn the heat source on and heat it up, and it shouldn't take long. Okay, the acid's reacting to the metals and it's dissolving the metals. You see all the bubbles? Once it stops bubbling, then it's finished. The acid's done its job. The acid has turned a a real dark colour now, and the bubbling's slowing down, so it might be at the end of its dissolving point. So all the metals from all those CPUs should be dissolved. I'll let it go a bit longer. It's been going about half an hour now. Okay, it's been 1.5 hours. The reaction is still going, it's nearly complete. So I've turned the heat off and I'll just leave it now to cool down. Okay, it's cooled down, and next I'll be putting it through a cotton strainer and just filter it out. Okay, I've put a cotton ball in the bottom of the funnel. That's going to be my strainer. This is all the material. And I can only put in so much into the funnel at a time, then I'll just let it filter through, and then I'll top it up. I'll keep topping it up until all the fluid's gone through the filter. Okay, once the beaker, once it's empty and the funnel is empty, then we just rinse out the beaker, just a little bit of water in there, give it a bit of a swirl around, and then we pour that into the funnel. Just to make sure that we get all the gold. Okay, it's been filtered, this material. I put a new cotton ball in the funnel. I'm going to filter it again. Refilter it back into the glass beaker. And it should come out nice and clean. It'll be green, but it'll be a lot cleaner. Okay, we've finished filtering the solution. Next, I add some urea. What this does is it'll kill off the acid. So just add a little bit in there. You start to see it starting to fizz up. That's neutralizing the acid. We neutralize the acid first before we add the SMB. SMB will make the gold drop out of the solution. But first of all, we kill off the acid. You can see all the foaming up now. The urea acting with the acid and neutralizing the acid. Okay, once the acid in the solution is has died off and there's no sign of any bubbling action, we then add sodium metabisulfide. I think that's how you pronounce it. SMB we call it. SMB for short. Now I'll drop this in, and what this will do, it'll participate the gold that's in the solution will drop out. The reaction with this SMB will cause the gold to drop out of solution. We'll end up with, on the bottom of the beaker, it'll be like brown mud, a brown mud looking material, and that's your gold. I'll just add this little bit by little bit, because if you add it in too fast it can bubble up. So we just put it in little bit by little bit. You can see it's clouding up. And the green in the solution, that's copper. That's the copper from the metals from the CPU chips that we dissolved in the acid. There'd be lead, silver, other metals in it, but this way we can separate the gold, and hopefully we'll just get the gold in the mud, and not any other metals like copper. And it's all clouded up. Okay, I'll put in a fair bit of that SMB. Now I can see brown, like a brown sludge on the bottom, which is our gold. That's what we want to happen. I'll add a little bit of water to it. Give it a stir. And then what I'll do, I've got to leave this overnight. I've got to leave it 24 hours for everything to settle to the bottom, and then we'll drain off the excess fluid, and we should be left with some brown mud in the bottom of the beaker. Okay guys, it's the next morning. So this is the material, the solution, and I'm just going to decanter it, take out all that liquid. I should be left with just the mud. All we want is that mud. That stuff. And it looks like there's some other stuff mixed in with it. So what I've got to do, there it all is in there, all that mud down the bottom, that's the gold. But I've got to clean it up with some acid. So I have to put some hydrochloric acid in and put it on a heat source and boil it just to clean it up. Okay, I've put hydrochloric acid in the beaker, and I've got it on a hot plate so it will clean up any impurities. Hopefully it'll get rid of any lead or copper that's in the that's in with that gold mud. I'll leave it on there for about 10 minutes. Okay, now I just pour off the acid. I don't know what that white material is in there. And then I clean it with some hot water. Now something's wrong here because it shouldn't be milky like that. That shouldn't be milky. I don't know what's going on. There's something else in there with the gold. I gave it the acid treatment, so that should have cleaned up any impurities. Anyway, I'll wash it 3 times with hot water and then we'll see what we're left with. Okay, now that liquid that I poured off from the solution, the hot water and that, it's actually got gold in it. So I'm putting in this sodium metabisulfide, SMB, and as you can see, it's turning brown. The solution's turning brown. That brown colour in the solution is gold. So I don't know what happened there. Maybe when I boiled it in the hydrochloric acid, the gold's gone back into solution. That's strange. I've seen videos where they boil it in the hydrochloric acid, and all it does is just cleans up the gold. But in this case, the gold has gone back into solution. So I'll just keep putting more SMB in there and drop the gold out. Okay, now this brown mud that you can see in the beaker, this is the gold, and for some unknown reason, I don't know what happened, the gold, when I boiled it in the acid, it had gone back into the solution. And this beaker here, there's still more in there. I've got to leave this beaker to settle, and all the gold will settle to the bottom of the beaker. But this is the majority of it. This is the majority of the gold here in this beaker, the brown material. Yeah, oh, I'm glad I didn't lose it. I got it back anyway. So there's not much by the look of it. There's not much there. Okay, here's the gold that I recovered from those CPUs. I'm going to smelt it. Okay, there it is. Now we'll melt it down into a button, hopefully. Okay guys, that's what we ended up with. It looks pretty clean too. It looks pretty good. There was a lot of slag on it from the borax, so I had to hit it with a hammer and break all the slag away from it, but that's it. That's what I got. Yeah, not much, but it's gold anyway. Okay, I'll see you at the wrap up. Okay guys, we'll see what this little bead weighs. if it weighs anything. Oh yeah, 0.12. 0.12. There it is there. Small, but it's gold. Well guys, at least that was cool. At least I got some gold out of that lot. I mean, I know I lost some. I probably should have got more than that, than what I got. Not much more, but I lost some. When I did that, when I had the brown mud, and then I cleaned it up with the hydrochloric acid at the end and boiled it. For some reason, the gold went back into the solution, and I don't know why. I've seen it done before on videos where they give it a bath in acid. Yeah, and they're still left with the gold. But in that case, the gold went back into the solution. I don't know. Let me know if you know what I did wrong. But anyway, at least I got it back. When I poured the liquid off, the solution off into the other container, and then I added some SMB, as you saw, it all clouded up brown, and that was the gold, and the gold dropped to the bottom, the mud, and yeah, and I ended up with that 0.12, I think it was, of a gram. So yeah, it was all right. With those electronics, they don't really put the gold on thick. It's only just a thin coating of gold over copper, I think it is. Yeah, so anyway, it was an experiment. I learnt something. Well, I think I did anyway. I hope you learnt something. If you're going to get into that sort of thing, guys, just make sure you wear your PPE. I've got a respirator. I was wearing a respirator, the rubber gloves, all that sort of thing. Eye protection. My respirator's got the full glass or perspex, yeah, for eye protection. But anyway, yeah, that was all. It was all fun. I like mucking around doing that sort of thing, and maybe I might do it again another time. Yeah, anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for supporting the channel, and I appreciate your comments and your thumbs up. All good. Cheers. That's gold. Okay guys, take care out there, be good, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.